What's up YouTube? It's Ken again. Thank you for visiting the channel. In this video, I want to cover 3 shelves that you see in front of you that I'm very proud of that are in my garage. They are between the stud shelves, and I want to go over why I built them and how. In particular, while this might not be the longest video that I make, it's one that I actually had in mind when I created the channel. This was something unique that I actually found on YouTube, so the idea is not original to me, but it fit my needs perfectly. And if you have exposed studs and aren't keen on the idea, like I wasn't, of finishing a space like a garage, this could be a perfect solution for you. Before I show you how I created them, I'll get into why. Obviously, space saving is the key. I have a 2-car, slightly oversized garage, but I'm really tight on space, and I have 2 minivans. So if I want to park both of them in the garage, I still can, and shelves like this actually really help. And in particular, the reason is that the footprint of these shelves is very small. These are vertical 1x6 boards that are simply routed out to create the grooves that the 1/2-inch plywood shelves slot into. And because it's just a 1x6, it means that the shelves aren't protruding out very far at all. You can kind of see right here where they are, and I'll get a close-up look later so that you can really see everything. But they only stick out about 2 inches, which leaves a lot of floor space. Now, in particular, what I really love storing on these shelves, as can be seen here, are fluids, including some lubricants up on this shelf right here. Brake cleaner, PB blaster, WD-40, all of that kind of stuff, oils, power steering fluid, brake fluid, transmission fluid, things like that are perfect here. They fit in well and they're easy to grab when I'm doing a job that requires them. The other thing that I really love, and this is what I actually had in mind for these shelves, are my Ryobi tools. And in particular, the ones that have a little bit of an unconventional form factor. So kind of like that light down there, which is a great little spotlight that I use all the time, my air compressor, brad nailer, and drills. Now, these can be hung up upside down, where the battery attaches to is kind of a perfect place to slide them into a cabinet that is specifically made for them. And I actually have a cabinet that I bought from Ryobi that does just that, as can be seen here. But of course I have a lot of tools, and while I can make a lot of those cabinets, this was still just the perfect solution. And it's completely customizable. So let's say that I buy more of those cabinets in the future, and I do want to hang these up at some point, I can totally do that. And I could repurpose these shelves for maybe more fluids that I don't have pictured here. Unfortunately, the coolants that I keep, they don't really fit. I could make room for them, but I've actually had issues with that where because of the depth of these shelves, the container over time deformed and I actually had a bit of a coolant spill. Wasn't that big of a deal, but I learned my lesson and don't want to put them back on here unless I could store them in such a way that they're fully in the shelf. And at that point, I'm losing real estate over here that I could otherwise use elsewhere for other products. And here's a look at the rest of the shelves. Of course, you can go pretty much as high as your ceiling space allows you to. I have it capped off pretty much at, I believe, 8 feet if memory serves me correctly. I could be slightly off on that, but I wasn't too worried about going further up because I didn't want to have to grab a ladder to pull something off of a shelf that high. So I capped it where you see there. But of note, the circular saw fits perfectly here, and I do have like items with like items. So like behind that circular saw, for instance, are circular saw blades. Here is my jigsaw, and I actually have my router normally sitting there, but I'm going to show that off in a minute and how I built these shelves. And the router bits normally sit up here too, but again, I have those off to demonstrate the construction of the shelves. One thing to note that's kind of construction related, but easier to see while we're here and looking at everything, is the fact that these studs are not perfectly spaced apart, and the width between the studs is not the same perfectly from the very top to the very bottom. What that means is that you do need to custom build these shelves a little bit. Like this one here that's in these 2 grooves would probably fit 1 to 2, maybe even 3 down and 3 up. But as you go higher up or lower down, that shelf right there isn't gonna fit. It'll either be too short or too long. And therefore there was some time consumption for making the shelves that I didn't quite anticipate. Right before we jump into construction, here's a little bit of a close-up. Again, this is the 2-inch gap that I was talking about. And you can see these shelves do pull out very easily and are pushed back in also easily. And there's quite a bit of room. As well as room for a little bit better organization on my part. I also created a couple of what I consider to be holders out of 1/2-inch plywood material. And for like my router set that sits up here and has a glass front on it, it's pretty tall. And so I actually just use this when it's in here to kind of hold it in place. Not that it would fall, But if ever there was an earthquake or something like that, just depending on the storm or the severity of the conditions, this probably wouldn't come out. And so it acts as a nice little buffer just to hold things in place. I had one too for my drills, but since my drill bit collection has grown over the years, it doesn't fit anymore. But they're not going anywhere. They're wedged in there pretty tightly. Okay, so construction. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but there are a couple of gotchas, and time is required. Unless you have a table saw with a dado, actually that would make this pretty quick, I would imagine. But if you don't, I did this entire project with this little Ryobi router. One post-edit note, I believe, and I'll try and find the link and post it into the description below, that the first gentleman that I watched who created these shelves actually made a jig that made it easier to keep the pieces firmly together and to where he could just move the jig along and then route. I didn't choose to do that. I just went with the piano hinge jig that you see here and made sure that as I did everything stayed together and square, and that I had my marks where I wanted the dados as appropriate. But a jig like that might be easier. This was a very manual and involved process. And I also didn't think that I needed that jig too, because I only want these shelves in one particular spot, and I wasn't planning on recreating this project anytime soon. I went through a lot of battery recharges, keep that in mind. This little router does eat through quite a bit of battery power, as would be expected with the work that it's performing. I also used this jig, which I don't think that the Stumpy Nubs video I just watched was where I got the inspiration. It was from another woodworker. I'll try and find the original woodworker who advertised this jig and where I copied it from, and I'll put that in the description. In addition to, I want to credit the YouTuber that I found this whole idea out from to begin with. I'll try and put their information into the description along with their video in case you want to watch it. But this jig, what it does is that it takes up the slack between the center of the router bit itself and the end of your plate. Now, this one I'll give the measurements for in case you use the same Ryobi. I believe this is just the stock plate that I went with. I didn't change it or anything. But basically what it allows you to do is that when it's fully open like this, you can mark your line, and that is where the router bit will cut. You just simply then fold that back over, put your router right up against it, and it's a nice fence too. So it serves really two functions, both measurement for your cut, for your dado, for your route, and also as a fence that you can run up against. Therefore, when you're creating your dados for your shelves, you can determine how many dados you actually put in and how far apart they're spaced. Now, my dados are spaced 2 inches apart. So every 2 inches, I have another dado. So from the center of the dado to the center of the next dado, again, is 2 inches. This jig was invaluable for that process. So really, the materials are pretty budget friendly and cost effective. You need some clamps. I just use these F-style bar clamps from Bessie. I clamp down the jig to the work pieces. I kept the two 1x6s clamped together as well, basically by putting the clamp like right here. You could also clamp, this way as well, but you want to keep this as parallel as possible. And of course, these are not 1x6s. These are just scrap pieces of wood that I wanted to demonstrate this with. I don't have a lot of 1x6 material. One thing to note too, when I say 1x6, the actual measurement is 5.5 inches by 3/4 of an inch thick. So bear that in mind too. And my dados are about 3/8 of an inch deep, and I'm using a 1/2 inch bit. Now, safety for this project is absolutely paramount, like it is for any project. But in this one especially, you're reconfiguring your clamps over and over and over again if you're using this method. It is time consuming and tedious, and doing something repetitively like that over time can lead to carelessness. So make sure to give yourself lots of time to accomplish this, and make sure that your router is going in the correct direction. Understand that if it's not going in the correct direction, if you don't have it working with your workpiece correctly, it could kick out, not only messing up your workpiece, but possibly injuring you. So please be careful. I would recommend that you not only have safety gloves, eye protection, and a mask too wouldn't hurt at all. Make sure that you have a way to safely test your router, preferably on a test piece of wood, before you work on your real project piece. One thing to note before I do get started with the demonstration, I find it helpful and important from a safety standpoint too, to clamp your workpiece to the sawhorse as well, so that it can't move. And also, when you start your project and you decide how far apart you want your dados, it'd be good to lay it all out first, making sure that your lines that you actually create, probably with pencil would be ideal. You want to make sure that those lines are perfectly square. So in this case, because I haven't measured this, it's just a test piece, I'm going to line up a square with my fence just to make sure that everything does stay square, so that when I cut, it's a perfectly square dado. And if memory serves, and it's been several years since I've done this project, you probably want to clamp your project pieces together first before you do those measurements, before you create the lines representing where the dados are going to go. That way everything's uniform and together, for when you actually make your cuts. And it's important to note too that when you move your clamps, things can get shifted a little bit, so be aware of that. Okay, here we go. And just like that, we have one very clean dado. Now it's time to simply rinse and repeat until you're completely done with all the dados. Once you are finished, I'll show how I mounted this to the studs. And as you can see, it's pretty simple. I just drilled a pilot hole and then drove in some construction screws. Now, I'm not really advising this, but for this shelf here, I only count 4 total screws. One at the top, one at the bottom, and a couple in the middle. You might want to use more. I've had no issues with this over the years, but that's just my experience. Again, I'm not advising that. I'm just letting you know what I did. And with that, I think this is a good place to end the video. I hope that this provided some inspiration for you. As always, if you found the content helpful or entertaining, please consider giving me a thumbs up. Please also consider subscribing so that you see future content. And please, as always, feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Peace.